Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden history of public influence. We're going to unpack the playbook that shapes what you buy, who you vote for, and yeah, even how you think. Let's dive in. It's a wild question, I know, but the answer tells you almost everything you need to know about our modern world. Both of these things were sold to us not just as products, but as lifestyles, using a set of rules perfected long before the first computer was ever switched on. So where did this incredibly powerful playbook even come from? Well, to figure that out, we need to meet the man who didn't just report on public opinion, he basically invented the science of creating it. This guy right here is Edward Bernays. And yep, you see that name, Freud. While his famous uncle Sigmund was busy mapping the subconscious mind, Bernays looked at all that work and saw a massive business opportunity. He realized that our deepest desires, our fears, our hidden instincts, they weren't just personal. They were levers that you could pull to influence millions of people all at once. Now, let's just be honest. The word for this at the time was propaganda. But after the World Wars, that term got a pretty sinister reputation, and for good reason. So Bernays knew he needed a rebrand. He polished it up, gave it a nice, clean name, public relations, but the goal underneath it all, it was exactly the same, to shape what people think and do, often without them even realizing they were being influenced. And this, right here, is what made his ideas so absolutely revolutionary. Before Bernays, everyone thought of public opinion like the weather. It's a force of nature, you can only react to it. He just flipped that whole idea on its head. He believed you could construct it, you could mold it, you could direct it. Why? Because he didn't see the public as rational individuals, but as an emotional crowd, driven by instinct. And this campaign, it's the perfect example of his method in action. The goal was to smash the social taboo against women smoking in public. The tactic, as you can see, was to stage what looked like a protest. But the narrative? That was the real genius. He connected the physical act of lighting a cigarette to this powerful aspirational idea of female empowerment. All of a sudden, they weren't just cigarettes, they were torches of freedom. It was a brilliant stunt that completely reframed the product and literally changed society for decades. So this brings us to this core conflict, this tension that's really at the heart of the whole industry. On one side, you've got the ideal of public relations, based on transparency and being fair, but then there's the reality of propaganda, which is what Bernays was often doing. He was using deceptive techniques, pushing one-sided arguments, all to manipulate the public for his client's benefit. It's a line that's still blurry today. Alright, so let's see how these principles really hold up under pressure. Because there is no greater test than a full-blown, everything is on fire crisis. When things go terribly wrong, how a company responds tells you everything you need to know. So back in 1982, Johnson & Johnson faced every company's absolute worst nightmare. People were dying because their Tylenol capsules had been laced with cyanide. Instead of trying to just contain the story, they did something nobody had ever done before. They recalled 31 million bottles. It cost them a fortune, $100 million, but it probably saved their company. They chose people over profit, and in doing so, they basically wrote the gold standard for how to handle a crisis. This slide just lays it out perfectly. There are really two roads a company can take. On the one side, you have Tylenol. They took decisive action, they were transparent, they were accountable, and they ultimately rebuilt public trust. And on the other side, well, you have disasters like the Exxon Valdez and the BP oil spills, which were just defined by delays, blame shifting, and a total failure to understand the real human and environmental cost. And wow, nothing captures that failure of empathy more than this infamous quote. While millions of gallons of oil were just gushing into the ocean, destroying an entire ecosystem and people's livelihoods, the main thing the BP CEO communicated was his own personal inconvenience. It was such a catastrophic communication failure, showing a complete disconnect from reality. But what if you can avoid the disaster in the first place? The most effective modern campaigns don't just react to the conversation, they actually start it. The goal is to create a cultural phenomenon. And you don't have to look any further than the Barbie movie. I mean, come on, that wasn't just marketing, it was a cultural blitz. Through all those strategic partnerships, a perfectly executed social media game, and just an inescapable pink aesthetic, they didn't just sell movie tickets, they managed to paint the entire world pink for a summer. And this brings us right up to today, where the tools of persuasion have evolved into something almost beyond human control. The new power brokers, they aren't clever marketers sitting in a boardroom anymore, they are self-learning algorithms. We are now all living in what's called the attention economy. And think about it, it makes perfect sense. There's an infinite amount of content out there, but you only have 24 hours in a day. That makes your focus, your attention, the most precious and valuable commodity in the world. And every company is in a constant, brutal fight to capture it. So here's the key takeaway. The goal is exactly the same as it was 100 years ago, but the method has been automated and scaled up to an unbelievable degree. Bernays had to manually stage events to shape opinion. Today, as this slide says, social media algorithms do that same work billions of times a second, shaping what we see, what we think, and what we believe. So how does it actually work? Well, it's a simple but incredibly powerful feedback loop that you take part in every single day. Every click, every like, every extra second you pause on a video, that's a signal. The algorithm learns your patterns, and it gets better and better and better at predicting exactly what will keep you scrolling. YouTube's algorithm, for example, isn't designed to give you the best information. It's designed to maximize the amount of time you spend watching, hooking you into one video after another. But, and this is a huge but, this efficiency has some really serious side effects. These algorithms create what we call filter bubbles, showing us more and more of what we already like. That leads to echo chambers where we never see dissenting opinions. Over time, this makes it way harder to understand other people's perspectives, and it creates this fertile ground where misinformation and fake news can just take root and spread like wildfire. And this quote just perfectly sums up the whole problem. An algorithm doesn't have a conscience. It doesn't care if a piece of content is true or nuanced or good for society. Its only goal, its only metric for success is capturing and holding your attention. And let's be honest, what's most engaging is often not what's most accurate. So, given all these powerful new tools of influence, we've really arrived at an ethical crossroads. How can brands market to us responsibly? And how can we as consumers even begin to navigate this landscape? Well, one answer is the rise of what's called purpose-driven marketing. In a world with endless choice, people are starting to ask not just what does this company sell, but what does this company actually stand for? It's all about aligning a brand's real mission with its marketing to make a genuine impact. And really, the whole foundation of this approach rests on these three pillars you see here. First, be honest, no misleading claims. Second, be respectful of data. Be transparent about how you're using it. And third, be authentic. This is the big one. Your actions have to match your words. It's not enough to just say you care, you have to actually prove it. Patagonia's famous Black Friday ad is the perfect example. I mean, think about it. A clothing company telling you not to buy its product? It sounds like business suicide. But it was such a powerful, authentic statement that perfectly aligned with their core mission of environmental responsibility. And the paradox? By telling people to buy less, they generated an enormous amount of respect and, in the end, fiercely loyal customers. So, from Bernays' torches of freedom all the way to the algorithms running in our pockets, the tools of influence have never ever been more powerful. The playbook is constantly being rewritten, and that leaves all of us with one final, really crucial question. In a world that is literally engineered to capture your attention and shape your opinion, the most valuable skill you can have is deciding for yourself what's actually true.